Hey everybody, and welcome to the presentation. My name's Trevor, and I am presenting tonight. We're talking about social media icons tonight specifically. And I guess what I mean by that, a lot of you guys have probably seen these just on websites as you've been surfing around the internet. And I wanted to bring up a couple of examples of how social media icons are used. Virtually any website on the internet who's trying to promote anything is going to have their social media icons somewhere on the site. So, for example, we're here on Nike.com, and if you look around, you have to scroll to the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see this very well because it's kind of small, but on the bottom right-hand corner, these right here are their social media icons. And all that is just, you know what I mean, like a little representation of each of their important social media accounts. So for Nike, I know this is hard to see, but Twitter is right here, Facebook is right here, YouTube is right here, and this little picture of what looks like a camera, that's Instagram. So those are their important social media icons, at least the ones that they want to promote. If I click on one of these, like if I click on their little Twitter icon right here, it's going to take me to Nike's official Twitter page, right? And this shouldn't shock you. Have you guys noticed this just on products in general or on websites? Have you guys noticed how everybody or virtually everybody has their social media icons? I was actually out to lunch the other day with a friend of mine, and we were actually talking about this, how social media seems to have sort of taken over the world, right? And we were joking about how, you know, the social media, Facebook and Twitter and all these really popular social media websites are their icons are on everything. And we were sitting at a table, and I looked over and I picked up this bottle of ketchup, right? That just sits on sort of like a restaurant table. And I said, I'll bet there's icons on this, right? And my friend's like, oh, no way. I mean, it's everywhere, but not everywhere, right? But sure enough, I turned over to the back of this bottle of ketchup, and sure enough, there was a Facebook and a Twitter icon right there, just right underneath the ingredients. So I mean that just goes to show that those icons are on everything, and they're on just about every website that's out there. I mean, Nike. I was going to show you guys Walmart right here. If you scroll down on Walmart, you'll notice that they're not way prominent. They're just kind of listed. And here's Walmart's. They have Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, and then a mobile apps icon. This one right here, this is Collections, etc. Maybe some of you guys have heard of this. They're a smaller retailer, but if you scroll down on these guys, they have Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, right? So, I mean, you got any website, and I'd challenge you to prove me wrong. Any legit website, for the most part, will have these icons installed, okay? Now, why do I bring this up? Because you guys need icons on your site. And so I want to talk about A, where to get the icons, and then B, how to edit them, and then C, how to get them onto your Volusion site. So a lot of times, though, they come pre-built into the site. So some of you guys may not need to do anything with this. Others may need to install some on. But regardless, I want to show you how to do it, because I think the skill is important. I think you guys will appreciate the process, and you'll use this skill as you continue to work on building your website in the future for other things that you're looking to add to it, okay? Okay, so number one, we need to find our icons, okay? If I were you, I would go to google.com/images and just do a search. So I'm going to search for social media icons. And you're going to see a variety of different kinds. I mean, there's no rule about, you know, what style you should use or what version. You can use round ones. You can use square ones. You can use ones that have a little more detail or a little more simple. It doesn't really matter. My only rule is just try to make sure that they're all similar. I don't want to see like a square for Facebook, a circle for Twitter, and no shape for LinkedIn or whatever. You want to make sure you stay consistent. So I'm going to pick one of these palettes here. As it doesn't matter really which. I can pick whatever I want. I'll pick this one right here. Or no, let's do this one. Let's do squares. So I want to use these. Now, it doesn't mean I have to use all of these. Some of these, I'm not going to use. Generally speaking, if you've got a website, you want to have probably at a maximum. I guess it depends on which social media accounts are important to your business. But I would at least have Facebook on your site and Twitter. Okay, that's kind of like my minimum. At least have those two. And then whatever else is important to your site. Maybe you have a Google Plus one. Maybe you have a YouTube one if that's important to your social media. Maybe you have a LinkedIn or Pinterest, right? I know we haven't talked a lot about the different accounts. We've mainly just talked about Twitter so far in these Thursday night webinars, but we'll be talking about these other ones soon. But like I said, as a minimum, Facebook and Twitter, you're at least going to want to have, okay? And luckily, most Volusion templates have it pre-built in. So sometimes you just need to know how to create a link there, and I'll show that to you guys as well. But if you're going to make your own custom buttons or custom icons, I want to show you guys how to do it either way, okay? Questions so far, guys, or does this make sense? Okay, looks like we're good. Stop me if there's something we need to talk about. So you can choose what program to edit these in. This is one single image right here. So if I save this and tried to load this up onto the website, it would just be these 9 social media logos here, and I don't want to do that. In this example, I'm just going to show you Facebook and Twitter. Maybe another one if we have time. So I'll save this first. I'm going to right click and I'm going to save this to my computer. I'll just put it on my desktop. Okay, right click and save, and then I'm going to come up here. My photo editor of choice is Pixlr, and I mention this a lot in my webinar. So I would use that if you're not familiar with anything else. Pixlr.com. Get here and then scroll down here to the Pixlr editor, and we'll hit Launch Web App. Okay, so we're in the web app right now. I'm going to open an image from my computer, and I'm going to go find the one I just downloaded, which incidentally is right here on my desktop. I'm going to double click on that, and lo and behold, here's my image. It's now in my photo editing program, right? So first things first, the way I would probably do it, and there's probably different ways to do this. If you're an expert on photo editing, maybe you've got a better way. I don't profess to be an expert. This is probably how I would do it. I'm gonna take this tool up here in the top left. Okay, it's called the crop tool, and I'm gonna drag it over here, and I'm gonna crop out the first one that I want to use. You just click and drag, and you get this little dotted outline here. See that? Click and drag, and then I can sort of choose the area I want to crop. Well, I really just want to crop Facebook here, so I'm gonna highlight that and crop it, and then I hit enter, and then there we go. I've got my Facebook icon here. Okay. Now, if you don't like the white outline, we can probably get rid of that, right? I can crop it again. Let's see if I can get rid of some of this white or whatever. Right? Might be a little bit of a process for me. You can just crop out the white. Might take you a sec. Almost got it. There we go. Okay, see how I sort of just cropped that out? So now I've just got this clean Facebook social media icon. Okay. And I'm going to size this thing down. I don't want an icon that's this big. I mean, if you'll notice, Nike's website, look how small their icons are. Your social media icons shouldn't take up and detract from the main message of your site. They should kind of be an afterthought. And that's why you want to keep them kind of small. So, I am going to keep it small. I'm going to go back to Pixlr here. And, oh, that's not the right one. Here it is right here. I'm going to size this. So if you're familiar with sizing, come up here to image size, and we could pull this down to like, I don't know, 30 by 29 or whatever, and hit OK. And see, there you go. That's 30 pixels by 29 pixels. And I know that's really small, but that's probably a good size. There's no magic number for how big you want this, but I think that's probably good enough. So I'm going to go File, and I'm going to save this icon. I'm going to give it a name, Facebook icon right here. I'm going to change the format to a JPEG format, okay? JPEG, JPEG format, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to save this to my desktop, okay? That's my first one. Okay, now I'm going to reopen. I'm going to open an image again, and I'm going to reopen my original right here, okay? Here's my original, and now I can just do the same thing with Twitter if I want to. Grab my crop tool. I'll come right over here, and I'm going to crop out Twitter just really quickly. Enter. There it is. I'm going to get rid of the white space again. Take me just a sec. All right, let's crop all that out. Almost got it. Pretty riveting stuff, right, guys? All right, there we go. That's cropped well enough. And let's get this down to about the same size. I've got 30 by 29 here. Let's size this down again. File, or I'm sorry, image size. Let's take this to 30. This is 30 by 30 just because of how I cropped it, but it's pretty darn close. When you get that small, the differences are really just not a big deal, okay? So there we go. They're about the same size, aren't they? That's probably good enough. Let me save it now. I'm going to go File, Save, and I'm just going to call this Twitter icon. Make sure it's saved as a JPEG. Hit OK. Saved and done. All right, I know that was kind of fast, guys. This is being recorded, of course, so you'll be able to rewatch this if that seemed a little quick. We've got some other tutorials on Pixlr, so if you need a little brush up on how this works, you can watch one of those. But is everybody with me for the most part? Does that make sense so far? Yeah, we good? Okay. You'll use this skill set of sizing and resaving on other things. So I think this is valuable beyond just our social media. Okay, so let's assume now that I want to put this on my website, right? Well, let's grab a website to do it with. So I'm going to just, for this example, I'm going to use a Volusion site. We'll use Uptown Pearl, although I believe we've got social media logos over here already. Notice that they're small, a lot like Nike.com or Walmart.com. They're right here at the bottom of the site. Some people like to have them up here at the top. I prefer just to have them in the footer, but that's just a preference. It probably depends on how important social media is to you, but we'll keep it down here in the footer. So let's log in to this account real quick. If you guys don't have a Volusion website or a website yet, I know this isn't completely related to you then yet, but it will be when you get your site up. Okay, so I'm logged into my Volusion account. And first of all, I have to ask myself, well, where do I want to put these? In this example, we can put them in the footer if we want to, and I'll show you guys how to do that. you know, I could put them in the main content of my site too. If I just wanted to put it, you know, in this area right here, I could hit edit and install them there. But there's something we've got to do here first before we decide really where these go. And this is where this gets a little more complicated and why I felt like I needed to do a webinar on it. First of all, let's go to just any product page, just real quick, okay? So I'm just going to choose any random product page. This one right here is fine. I just need this box right here. In fact, to make it easier, why don't you guys just create a test product for this? So I'm going to just call this product. Well, we don't even need to necessarily save it as anything. I'm just going to use this product so I have this description box to mess with for a second, and you'll see why. I need to upload these images into Volusion, very first thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload them, and then I'm going to copy the code that I uploaded so I can have that code and I can place it in other places of the site, okay? This will make sense here more in just a second. Let's first upload the images. So with my cursor blinking right here, I'm going to come right here and I'm going to hit this little insert image icon, okay? And I'm going to choose a file to insert. I'm going to find my Facebook icon and double click on it, and that loaded it in right there. It's a good size, right? Well, right next to it, I can upload another one. So I'm just going to click the image button again, choose file, and I can choose my Twitter icon, and it loads in right next to it, okay? So there you go. There's my Facebook icon, there's my Twitter icon right next to each other. Now you can format this a little bit differently. If you think that's too close and you want a little space between them, you might try a different approach, okay? You might try adding what's called a table, okay? So I'm going to click on this table icon right here, and I'm going to hit insert table, and I'm going to do a table that is 1 row and 2 columns, okay? That's going to create 2 little cells, and I'm going to insert that in. Now I've got these 2 equally sized cells right here, and I'm going to select the one on the left, and I'm going to choose insert image, and I'm going to choose the Facebook image again, the Facebook icon like that, and there it goes. And then I'm going to choose the Twitter one. Choose file, Twitter, and there it goes. See, now that gave them a little space. I actually prefer that look a little bit better. With a little extra space. Most sites have a little extra space. I mean, look at Nike.com. They've got a little space between theirs, right? Walmart's got a little space in between theirs. Collections, etc., has them totally separated. Again, there's no hard and fast rules here. These are just general guidelines, okay? But I prefer to have a little space, so that's what we'll do. So once I've got my table here, I'm going to delete out these first ones. Just highlight them and delete them, so that all I've got here is my table. And I am going to click on this little HTML button right here, and I'm going to highlight all this code. Okay. Highlight all the code and copy it. Right-click, copy, okay? Now I've got the code for this specific look, right? This image right here, or this table with the 2 Twitter icons in, or the Facebook and Twitter icons, to programming and to the website is really just this code. So if I have this code copied, wherever I paste it on my website, these 2 will appear just like this. The problem is, guys, I'm missing one step. It doesn't do us any good to install these icons onto the site if I don't have them linked to anything. So I need to link these 2 images as well. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click on Facebook, and I'm going to hit this little edit. See how that if I click on the Facebook logo, I get the little edit option, and I click on edit. and it gives me an opportunity to put in a link. All right. Let's just grab a random, let's grab Nike's Facebook page just as an example. Now, obviously, you would want to grab the address for your own Facebook page, but I'm going to go and I'm just going to highlight this web address. Okay, that's the direct link or the direct URL to Nike's Facebook page. And I'm going to go back to Pixlr, or I'm sorry, not Pixlr, but my Volusion Builder here, and I'm going to paste that link right here. Okay, that's posted in the link. That's the destination of where the link needs to go. And then right here where it says Open Link in New Tab, I'm going to select this for Facebook. I'll show you what this does here in just a minute. And I won't select it for Twitter so you can see the difference. I always recommend you select this for your social media icons, okay? And I'm going to hit Save. Okay, so that's done. Now I go to Twitter and I hit Edit. I'm going to grab Nike's Twitter page. Here's the URL right here at the top, right? I'm gonna just copy that. And let's go back here and we'll paste it right here, okay? I'm not going to select the Open Link in New Tab just to show you the difference, and I'm going to hit Save. Now, if I click on this little code button again, this code has not only the links, but it has the images. It has everything that I've done so far. Okay, so I'm going to now copy this code, and once it's copied, I can go somewhere else in Volusion, and I'll show you what happens. Okay, so let's go. Well, let's go to another product just to show you an example here. Now that I have the code, I can take whatever I just did on that page and I can put it anywhere. Let's say I wanted to put my Twitter and Facebook icons on this necklace product right here. I could click on the code and I can paste in my code that I just created. And if I click on the little HTML icon again, it gives me the icons. If I save this, and I can view this product at this point. If I view the product, there's my two icons here installed onto the site. Okay. Now, granted, this is in the product description. This probably isn't where I want to put them, but just as the example goes, here they are. So it's kind of cool. If you've got that code copied, you literally can put it anywhere you want. So it's nice to have that code. That's why we did all that work inside that test product, so we could copy the code and take it other places. Okay? So if I click on this Facebook, we'll test the link, and you'll notice that the Facebook page comes up, right? If I click on the Twitter, you'll notice the Twitter page comes up. So you might say, well, I don't see the difference. They both seem to do the same thing. Well, they didn't exactly. Facebook is the one that I selected open in a new tab. So when I clicked on Facebook, if you can see where my mouse is up here, it created this Facebook tab right here that goes to the Facebook page. So it makes it to where I didn't actually leave my site. My site's still up. But if I clicked on the Twitter one, it actually replaces my website with the Twitter page, if that makes sense. Okay? So that's why we want to open in a new tab. I don't want somebody to click on my Facebook icon and have it just go directly to Facebook. I'd prefer to do it this way right here. Okay? All right, you guys all with me on that? Does that kind of make sense so far? Now, I'm not going to leave it here in the description. I'm going to delete it out of here. So let me edit this product. I could delete it out from right here, I suppose. See that? I just hit the delete button a couple of times. Or I could have gone into the code and tried to figure out where and how much code to delete. And if you're any good at HTML and you can recognize this kind of stuff, you can delete that out. And there you go. It's gone. Okay. Now, first of all, before I move on, if some of you guys are like, hey, wait a minute, I don't know much about code. I've never done this kind of thing before. Don't stress. You don't need to know much about code. Just you've got to be able to copy and paste it. That's all. This little description box here, this is what creates the code for us, and this is just a part of the Volusion Builder. Okay. So now this is the part that you may want to work with your coach on, because this is where you're going to have to take this piece of code and you're going to have to figure out where to install it on your site so that it actually shows up in either the header portion of your site, the part right up here somewhere, or the footer portion of your site, the part at the very bottom. Now, as I said earlier, I prefer it in the bottom. That's just where I've always put it, and I think it works there. You don't need it in both, although I suppose you could have it in both. My recommendation is just to keep it down here in the footer. So I know they're already here on this website, but I'm going to install it, our two little icons that we did together. I'm going to install it to show you kind of what that might be like. Although my caveat here is let your coach do this part for you, or work with his designer team or somebody else to help you with this, because you have to get into the site's main code to do it. I'll show you what I mean. There's not really an easy way to install it on Volusion yourself without getting into the code. So here's where you go. You come up here and you click on the Manage Store icon. And then you're going to go here to Design, and then you're going to go to File Editor. When you're on File Editor, you're going to come up here to Template HTML, this little option right here. Now this takes you into the actual coding of your site, and this is why just a minute ago I said maybe talk to your coach about this, because if you're not familiar with a little bit of CSS or a little bit of HTML, this is going to look awfully confusing. I've got that code copied from what we did just a minute ago, but I have to know where to put it in this massive list of code in order to get it to show up in the footer. And that's why web developers and web designers make the big bucks, because they can actually read this type of stuff. So I would actually recommend don't try to install it yourself, because if we delete something here and make a mistake, it can actually mess up the website completely. So no pressure, right? That's why I'd prefer that you work with your coach on installing the icons into your template for you. But I will say this: if you decide to venture into doing some of this yourself and you want to try it, I'm going to go to this word counter. Wordcounter.net, although it doesn't matter where you go. This is just a place for me to copy my code. This is the code that we created a few minutes ago for our social media icons. I'm also going to copy the code of my entire site here. So I'm going to go back to where I was on Uptown Pro, and I'm going to copy this whole thing. Why am I going to copy this whole thing? Because in case I screw something up, at least I'll have all of this code copied verbatim. And if I need to reinstall it quickly, I can. So I'm going to come here to Word Counter, and I'm going to paste all of this code. Here it is, all the code for my site, pasted right here. Pretty ugly looking stuff, right? Now, if your eyes are glazing over right now, like, Trevor, I don't want to have anything to do with this. I don't want to mess with the code. That's fine. Work with your coach on it. But for those of you guys who do want to understand more of the technicalities behind it, I want to show it to you, okay? That's the starting tag of your whole site. This would be all of your code listed, okay? So we've got that copied now, and that's really just for insurance reasons. So now I'm going to copy my social media code right here. I'm going to go back to my website, and I'm going to find where the footer section is. Now this might look a little different for all of your guys' sites, depending on how the site was designed. But what I'm going to look for, this is a little trick. Let me bring up my website again. I'm going to look for a feature in my footer that I can do a search for. And I'm gonna search for this right here where it says built with Volusion, because I'm gonna want to maybe put my icons right here next to it. Built with Volusion. Okay, so I'm gonna search for that in that code. So let's go back here, and you can look for it just like this, or if you're on a Mac or a PC, I think it's either Command F on a Mac or Control F on a PC. If I do that, I get a little search bar right here, and I can search what's on my web page, and I can do built with, and it'll automatically find this information here in my code. Okay. So there it is right there. See how it highlighted it for me? See how nice that is? I could be searching all day for that information in all this code, but sure enough, I found it right here. Kind of nice, right? Okay, so that's where that is. Now I have to figure out where to paste in my code. Before I move on, let me just look. I've got a couple of comments here. Catherine, you had one. You said on the product page, you have Facebook and Twitter share next to the delete. Is that why it is displayed below the image? I will comment on those here in just a minute, Catherine, so hold that question. And then Margot said, did you save your full code in a special place, or does your counter program just keep it? It keeps it temporarily, so I saved it here just because it's easy to grab. You could save it anywhere you want. You could even like email it to yourself, or save it in a Word document or whatever. Save your code wherever, just as long as you can get it. I'm just going to put it here in my word counter because it's easy for me to find. So now I've got it. All right, but let's copy our social media icon code right here. Copied. And let's go back to our code right here inside our file editor. And let's try to paste it somewhere. I'm going to paste it just right after this period. Okay, I just pasted it in. You see that? This is all the new code that I just put in right here. I know that was quick, but I just did a Control V and it pasted it in. I'm going to save this now. Okay, so I'm going to hit save, and we're going to see what happened. Now I'm just going to go back and I'm going to refresh my site and see if my icons came up. Now there's a chance that they don't, and if they don't, we'll go in and we'll figure out why. Okay, so let's refresh it. See if it's saved. Nope, they didn't show up. Okay, so let's go back into the code and let's see if we can troubleshoot why that might be that it didn't show up. Here's my code right here. In fact, let me try something real quick. I'm going to go back to a product. Let me test my code out on a product and make sure it's still good. If you've ever designed a website before, or even if you've had people design a website for you, you'll appreciate this, because you think designing a website, how hard can it be, right? It's really difficult for these reasons, because there's all sorts of different kinds of quirks, right? This code didn't work for us. I'm not sure why, so I'm going to delete it out and I'm going to try it somewhere else. Let's try it after this span tag right here, or maybe just before the footer ends. Maybe let's try it there and save it. It's kind of guess and check when you get into this, and sometimes it works, and sadly other times it doesn't. That's why you have to kind of guess and check. Oh, there it goes. There's our icons. They went in this time. I'm not sure why they went in there instead of where I pasted it before. It must have had something to do with that span tag. I'm not a computer developer, so I don't understand all the intricacies of how that works. But that worked there. It looks like they went in just fine, and I can test them too. I can click Facebook. Sure enough, that worked. And I can go back. Oh, where did my page go again? Let me reload it. Okay, and let's click Twitter. Yep, Twitter worked as well, so it did work. That was an okay spot to paste it in my code. So, again, the problem with this is, guys, your templates are all a little different. And I mainly showed you this process of going into your Volusion, finding the file editor, going to this template.html just to see how complicated even something very simple can actually be, right? I mean, I just wanted to get my two social media icons in there, and that was, see all the steps that it took just to do that one thing. So you can appreciate web developers and the amount of time and energy it takes just to build an entire website just by even installing some social media icons. So here they are right here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these out for now. In fact, let me just highlight these. Let me highlight the code that I installed. This is all of it right here. I'm going to delete that code. Let me make sure I'm okay with that. Hold on, nope, I almost deleted something I shouldn't have. There we go. Deleted that, and then we'll hit save. And if I go back out to the store, they should be gone. And sure enough, they are. Okay. So the good news is, like I said earlier, Volusion makes it pretty easy to for a lot of you guys to do your Twitter icons and stuff. They have them pre-installed into the template, so you don't have to custom do it like we did. But I thought I'd show you just real quick how to do it. Now back to your question just a minute ago, Catherine. You'll notice a lot of you guys who have websites that if you look at a product of yours, there's actually social media logos right here under the picture of every single product. Okay. These are actually different than the ones that I was just showing you. These are placed here in case a customer who comes across a product that they really like, let's say, for example, a customer really loves this specific bracelet called the Chanel. If they love this item, they may click on the little Twitter icon right here. And let me show you what happens when I click on that. You get this little pop-up that automatically connects that person to their Twitter account, and it gives them a preset tweet for the name of the product and the link. And then if I hit tweet, that'll automatically show up on my account. I'm just going to do it to show you what happens. Okay, I just did it. Okay, now if I go out to my Twitter account real quick just to show you that it worked, it automatically tweeted out to all of my followers that specific link to a product. If I go to my, let me go to my actual account here. Let's view my profile. Yep, and sure enough, there it is. So automatically did that tweet, and then if I clicked on this link right here, it would take me back to the site. So that's why we have those there. You'll notice e-commerce sites do this all the time. They've got a little Twitter symbol. This is a little email symbol. If they click on this, it'll automatically make them email the link to somebody. A Google Plus symbol, a Pinterest symbol, and a Facebook symbol. This stuff actually works. This is all preset and done for you. You don't have to edit those at all. So to your question, Catherine, don't even touch those. Those are already installed for you. Just leave them be. They don't perform the same function as the ones we were just creating. Our Twitter icons and Facebook icons, those were created expressly to link out to our Twitter and Facebook profile pages for the business. These are created expressly so that customers can share using their own Twitter account our products, if that makes sense. Okay. So, and there actually is a way to make the link shorter. If I want to, of course, customers may not know. So no, like the pre-default set here, Megan, if you wanted to make this link shorter, this is what she's talking about, guys. If I click on tweet, see how long this link is right here? That you can't change because that link is the link to your page. Like that's the actual product link. So there's no way to actually adjust that, unfortunately. It just kind of is what it is. If someone knew enough, there's a link shortener that they could go use, but you can't change that as the owner. That link will remain the same. So there is some value for these for sure. Oh, what was the study that was done? I'm just looking at my notes here. Oh, in 2011, there was a study done on these icons right here, on like just not just products, but on you'll notice that these icons show up everywhere. They show up on blogs, they show up on news articles, and they found that your shares increase. Like the amount of times that this product would actually be shared on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest goes up 7-fold if you've got these icons on the page. If we omitted these icons, this would get shared very rarely. So that you want to make these icons available so that people can easily click and share. That's why we have them preset into most of our Volusion templates. Okay. Megan asks, do you include your social media icons on your email signature for your business? You definitely can. Yeah, you definitely can. And you can link them depending on your email provider. You could definitely link at least Twitter and Facebook, and that's just because those are the main ones, right? Now, one word of caution to you guys. There's a reason why most sites only have a few social media icons on them. Studies have shown if you have too many social media icons, like you might have a Twitter account, a LinkedIn account, a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a Pinterest account, you name it, StumbleUpon account, a Dig account. There's thousands of social media places that you'll probably set up for a business presence. You only want to show 3 or 4 on your site. Like you never want to show tons and tons and tons. Just show a few of your important ones, and that's good enough. Studies have shown that if you show too many, nobody even pays attention to them at all. That's the reason why you only see a few on most sites, okay? So hopefully this was helpful today, guys. I took you through the whole process of bringing some social media icons onto the site. I really would rather not see most of you guys who aren't very well trained in coding and HTML doing what I did earlier. And so you might ask, well, why did I show you that? Well, it's like I said earlier, I want you to kind of appreciate some of the time and energy and work that goes into the development of of a website. It's not easy work. Designers, web designers do a lot of good things, and we're teaching a lot of you guys the basics of doing some web design so that you don't have to pay somebody $150 an hour, to work on your website. So you can do some of this stuff on your own. We just feel like with a little training, you can do some of the maintenance like this, and you don't have to rely on other people, and I think that's important. So that's probably it, guys. I won't give you anything else. Work with your coach if you have any other questions about installing your social media icons onto your site. And we'll probably do some other similar webinars like this, but I hope this was at least somewhat instructive. I know it's not the most riveting topic in the world, but I get a lot of questions about where we should put those icons, and should I link to my social media from my site? The easy answer is yes, and hopefully this webinar answered those questions for you. Okay. All right, we're going to, let's finish up. I don't have anything else to share with you guys tonight. That's plenty. So I'm going to turn off the recording. We'll see all of you guys hopefully next Thursday, same time, same place. I appreciate the attendance. These are just getting busier. There was nearly 60 of you guys here tonight. I tried to get to all your comments. If I missed you, I apologize. But that happens sometimes when you have 60 people commenting, right? So thanks for being here, everybody. I'll see you guys next week.